Well, the 2025 draft proved fruitful for the Indianapolis Colts, selecting tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State with the 14th overall pick. The reigning Mackey Award winner can truly do it all for this team. A huge threat over the middle, regardless of who's playing quarterback for the Colts next season. Over 1,200 yards, 104 receptions, 8 touchdowns for the Nittany Lions en route to an Orange Bowl appearance in the college football playoff. This is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, tight end in college football and in the NFL draft for 2025. Colston Loveland was selected 10th overall by the Chicago Bears, and once that happened, a bit of a surprise. Many regarded Tyler Warren as the best tight end in the draft. Once that happened, the Bears selecting Loveland, it was all but a surefire thing that Warren would fall to Indianapolis at 14, and indeed he did. Tyler Warren is your newest member of the Indianapolis Colts. We had a chance to hear from him and general manager Chris Ballard after the selection in the first round.
Tyler, welcome to Indianapolis. What can you tell us about just the interest that the coach showed in you throughout the pre-draft process and what you can bring to the team?
Yeah, I mean, I had met with him at the combine, came up on a 30 visit, but I really enjoyed even from the combine, it was a team that I really enjoyed the staff and my meeting with them, and enjoyed being there for my 30 visit. But yeah, I'm just really excited, and it's a great place to go play football, and I'm excited to work with that program and that organization.
Jake.
Hey, Tyler, welcome to Indy. So it's been a while since they've had a high volume tight end in this area. Have they expressed to you the way they envision using you pretty much right off the bat?
No, I mean, I don't have a specific, what their whole plan is, but I know I'm just going to come in and, do whatever is asked of me and do it to the best of my ability. That's kind of what I, try to do as a football player. So whatever that looks like is what I'm going to do.
Joel.
What's your mentality as a blocker?
Yeah, I think it's just as important as anything else I do, and I know it's my job to stop that guy from making a tackle at the end of the day, right? That's the base rule of what you want to do when you're blocking somebody, and I think having the right mentality and having violent intentions is part of it, but also understanding technique and angles and aiming points and stuff like that. So I think there's a little bit of both from playing with the angry mentality, but also being able to be smart about it and know what you're doing.
Stephen?
Oh, it's a similar question I was going to ask. I mean, they've talked about wanting to have a guy who they can play on all 3 downs. And because you are multifaceted, you give them that opportunity. I mean, how valuable is it just to have that ability to play, to be on the field and play in every situation at your position?
Yeah, I think that, it's important kind of in general as a football player to be able to be on the field as much as you can, help the team out as much as you can. And then as a tight end, it helps you kind of the whole offense, being able to block and be a threat in the passing game opens up, everybody else in the offense and kind of just a scheme in general. So I think that is a lot of, really important for a tight end to be able to be on the field for all 3 downs.
James?
Tyler, can you tell us the John Riggins story and watching film with your dad about how he plays and how you've implemented that, I guess, into your game?
Yeah, so that was actually before, first year of tackle football. My dad pulled up the YouTube highlights of John Riggins, and he was a Washington fan growing up, and he was like, this is how I want you to run the ball and kind of how I want you to play football. So I wore on the 44 in Little League is the number that I wore, and then got to wear it again in college. So that was kind of, where the 44 came from, but it was, kind of just speaks to the way my dad raised me and the type of football guy he was and the John Riggins fan.
So real quick follow-up, how old were you when you're watching this film, I guess, around what age?
Yeah, I was probably like eight years old when I first year tackle, so it was a while ago.
Joel?
Did you want to be the first tight end taken? Does it matter to you that you ended up being the second one off the board?
No, I'm just, I'm excited to have an opportunity to play in the NFL and to, play for Indianapolis. It's really cool. So that's kind of what my focus is, and I'm just excited to be a Colt.
Jake?
That was actually mine as well. But I guess, with the Colts picking in the middle of this round, they weren't the only team interested in you, obviously. How nerve-wracking was that to sit and wait? And then ultimately I'm sure you've heard about these mock drafts. Like, you've been linked to the Colts for months now. So how was that waiting?
Yeah, it's I'm glad that's the only time I really have to do that. And that was my last time doing it. But, like you said, it's just you don't have much to control yourself. You're just sitting there waiting and hoping you get picked. But I'm happy that it, came down to the Colts, and I'm excited to get to work.
Brad?
Tyler, we see you played baseball and basketball in high school. What was your takeaway from either of those that has most paid off for you in football this many years long?
I think they both helped me. I think basketball is a big one, just especially tight end, using your body, getting open, and kind of just those type of movements are kind of similar when you get into certain tight end aspects, like going up and high point balls, stuff like that. So I think it helped me out a lot, playing all three sports really all through high school.
Joel?
Obviously Riggins made a big impression on you. Were the other players that you liked growing up, were they in the same vein, kind of those hard-nosed types of guys?
Yeah, I think that is, fair to say. Jeremy Shockey was another tight end I came across this summer that I kind of liked, just kind of his mentality that he played with when he was running the ball, especially. So that was, another player, kind of similar type of style, the way he plays. So that is something that I try to emulate in my game.
James?
Tyler, I know you're a mild-mannered guy, but do you give yourself a chance to, I don't know, scream, yell, get excited about the new opportunity? I know you want to focus on what's ahead, but do you take a moment tonight to celebrate, one of the biggest accomplishments of your life?
Yeah, I think it is important to enjoy it, for tonight and then be able to get to work. But probably once I get off this Zoom is probably when I'll do something like that. But yeah, I'm definitely, really excited and really appreciative of all the help, from all the people that I've gotten to get to this point.
Look, sometimes you get a little lucky. Excited to get Tyler. We were patient. We had a pretty good feel when they started, when both tight ends started to fall that, and we liked both of the players, but good fit for us. Adds a toughness to our team. Questions?
I mean, I'm sure you like both. You just said that. Do you have any sense that they might go in that order? Two tight ends? Just flavors.
Yeah, it's flavors and fit, for what you want to do.
Once Loveland went off or around there, did you have discussions about trading up?
Nope. Had a good feeling. Yeah. We work really hard at this to kind of figure, team needs, our pro scouts do an unbelievable job of kind of, all right, here's what they need. No, felt good about it. I'll tell you this. Last time I felt that good about pulling a pick, and I felt good about all of them, but was Quentin. It was it was easy. It was easy. There wasn't a lot of discussion.
Now, you've talked about what's been missing with the tight end group. I mean, now that you've got your guy, what does he potentially bring to your offense?
He can do a lot now. I mean, he can play multiple spots. He's got the quarterback background, so he can play in the backfield. He's a great 50-50 ball catcher. After the catch, he's violent after the catch. I mean, he brings an element of toughness that I thought, we needed to add offensively.
See tight ends utilized as much as he was around their offense. In your conversations with their staff, what did they say about specifically why they felt like?
Good you asked that. So the offensive coordinator was at University of Kansas the year before with my son. So I got to see how he did things offensively. So it didn't surprise me one bit to watch how he knew he had a unique player, and he found unique ways to use him. And I think Shane will find unique ways to use him.
You mentioned Quentin. Is there a similar mentality between those two? Because we just got off the Zoom with Tyler.
Yep.
First thought was Quentin.
Very similar. Very similar.
When a guy has 17 catches in a game, how do you contextualize that in the scouting process?
That was as dominant a game that you saw from any offensive player in college football this year. Catch 17 balls on the road at USC, and they know he's getting the ball, and they just kept feeding it to him. He's unique. He's a unique player. We're really excited to get him. Yeah.
How much that excitement is just about the ways that Shane can use a player of his skill set?
I mean, I don't really know how to answer that because, I mean, Shane's a creative guy, so he'll find ways to. I mean, he does a really good job with all our players, putting them into spots to what their strengths are. I think he'll do the same thing with Tyler.
I mean, Josh Downs has been, sort of a, I don't know, safety blanket, if you will, at times. How much does the tight end, when you have a volume tight end, help, in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, look, it'll help. There's a lot of different ways, but like the ability to really threaten the middle of the field, I think is going to open some things up for us offensively. And I think it gives and plus being a really big target, I mean, I think that's a plus. I mean, it's kind of one of those guys that's always open. I mean, that's part of his uniqueness. Like his hands are pretty rare. I mean, I thought he had the best hands of any player in the draft. So he's a unique dude.
You talk about the middle of the field, the matchup advantages often come in the middle of the field. Is that fair?
Yeah, because there's not many 6'6" linebackers or safeties playing. So, yeah.
Chris, you mentioned how clean he was, like, as a prospect, and then he said he came in for a top 30. What more did you need to see, I guess?
I just wanted to visit with him. Yeah, just wanted to visit with him. Yeah.
When you look at his college journey, he was a guy who kind of had to wait his turn a bit and kind of grind it out. How much do you think that kind of just, I guess, let you know who he is as a person? Because he was saying, I had to work for it.
In a day and age where guys back out at the first sign of competition, I mean, this is a real issue in college football. The first time somebody has to wait their turn and actually compete their ass off to play, you'll see it right now in the transfer portal. They'll hit what do you mean I'm not starting? What do you mean I got to work for it? No, I'm going somewhere else. It's a beautiful thing, man. That is a beautiful thing. And I don't think, I asked a bunch of questions like, all of a sudden he burst on the scene, and he was a good player last year for him, but then he burst on. But then when you start digging into it, they've had some other tight ends there that have been pretty good football players. So for this kid to keep competing, never gripe, complain, just keep working and getting better, that's a freaking beautiful thing now. College football should pay attention to it. Not college football, the players should pay attention to it.
How unique is it for a tight end to basically be a wildcat, be like an entire offense for a college like that?
No, you can do a lot with him. He is excellent inside the 10 and 5 because of the things you can do with not only throwing him the football, but running the football. And that's going to be an added advantage for our offense, I think, of the things Shane can do with him.
From a blocking standpoint, you mentioned in Florida that they're all going to have to develop. But how much does it help that he's already been at fullback, been in the slot, been in all the spots that he wanted to be?
Yeah, look, none of them are finished products coming into our league. They all have to learn, and he's still got some growth to do. But it tells you about his football IQ, like to be able to go in the slot, line up at tight end, line up wide, line up at quarterback, line up at fullback. They put a lot on that kid's plate, and he handled it mentally. So that just tells you that he's going to be able to handle a high volume on Sunday of whatever we ask him to do.
How much did the run that Penn State made in the college football playoff help give you a further or a clearer picture of him in the evaluation process?
Look, all you got to do is put the USC game on. I didn't need the playoffs. He had done enough in that one game to go like, holy cow, man, this guy's got some unique stuff in him. And he's a good kid.
Chris, did all you guys go to Penn State?
No.
Was Shane there?
No.
Chris, were you surprised Loveland went for him?
Flavor, that's a better question for Ryan in Chicago than me. Guessing they got Cole Kmet. Probably think, Loveland's probably a better fit in combination with Cole Kmet. That'd be my guess, but you need to call Ryan and ask him that.
How much do you think having Warren will help whatever quarterback you're starting?
Well, I mean, that's the plan. Yeah. Yeah. That's why we took him.
Like I said, you did last one here. You didn't have to reach. I mean, he was in that area on your board. Can you say where? I mean, where was he?
We had a group of about 4 or 5 players that, we were considering. And so, he was right in that group.
You can name names.
I know, and you want me to stack them too. You want me to bring the board in for you here, chap, so you can follow it along? Chap, just come on. Just come on. You're going to come with us.
Just say these 4. We won't say what the order was.
Just between us.
Yeah,
Did you happen to catch that hit one in Tyler Warren? That's what he told us the other day.
Yeah, a bit. Probably thinks he's going to take off some of the blocking duties. Nope.
One more serious one about, he said he watches film like John Riggins and all that when he was a kid. Like, when you hear that from a 22-year-old and knowing who his dad is, how much does that maybe just let you into his psyche?
Yeah, like when he gets the ball in his hands, man, there's some violence now that he's going to deliver to the defender, especially at the second level. And that aggressive mentality, I think, is going to benefit him very well. Awesome. Thank y'all.
As you can tell, it was an easy decision for the Colts. Chris Ballard not mincing words, and Tyler Warren ready to get started here in Indianapolis. It's a crowded tight end room, but no one has the potential and the athletic build and the talent, the dynamic ability that Tyler Warren possesses. 6'5", 256 pounds. Are you kidding me? You try bringing him down across the middle. My goodness, he is an absolute stud, and the Colts certainly happy to have him. And he did it all at Penn State. He threw the ball. He ran the ball for 216 yards, added 4 touchdowns to an already stellar stat sheet, receiving the football a year ago in college football. So a lot of different things, a lot of different spots he can play for the Indianapolis Colts, and yet another dynamic, athletic, offensive weapon here in Indianapolis. We'll have much more coverage on air and, of course, right here on WTHR Plus as far as the NFL draft goes and what the Colts will do in days 2 and 3. A lot to still be added for this team. Offensive line, linebacker, defensive line depth come to mind. So still a lot of good players and a lot of good picks to be had for the Indianapolis Colts. We'll have much more coverage, like I said, on WTHR Plus and, of course, on air. For now, at the Colts headquarters, I'm Dominic Miranda, 13 Sports.